Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220, KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Valley Industry Association Business Spotlight. I'm joined by two young, amazing high school students, Samantha, Marcus, and Sam.
Yes,
hi. Go by
hi.
Sam, and she is an amazing young lady at West Ranch High School, AP and honor student, vice chair of the Wildcats Against Cancer. That's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Learning at a young age to help others and support others. So welcome to the show. And then Jake Gomez. Jake is a senior at Valencia High School, and you, like Sam, done a lot of work, a lot of volunteer work in the high school. AP honor student, two remarkable young people I have here. We're going to talk about a program that you're starting up called LINC, L-I-N-C, and it stands for Linked Individuals Network Connections. Tell me, Sam, about Linked.
So LINC is started from me and Jake. We both wanted to do something about helping teens decide what they want to do with their careers in the future. Just like myself, Jake and I really don't know what we wanted to do in the future, so we said, hey, why don't we start LINC, where we interview people and try to relay that information to teens so they can decide what they want to do in the future.
And so, Jake, this happened when you were studying for what is it, ACT?
ACT, yeah.
They didn't have ACT back when I was younger.
Right.
It was a East Coast thing. So.
So yeah, I came over to Sam's house and we were just studying for ACT, and Sam asked me what I wanted to do when I was older, went out of college, stuff like that, and I was just like, I don't know at all. She had the same answer, and we kind of just started talking about how that's kind of a trend with a lot of kids at our school, and we're expected to make a huge decision going out of high school and into college, and a lot of us don't know what we're going to decide on, and so that's kind of the passion behind LINC.
Now, the concept is to interview professionals,
Yes.
right, and find out what they needed to learn, where they needed to get education in order to get the job they have.
Yeah, so it's definitely informational in the sense that we're trying to find out what the prerequisites are in what you need to study in college, what you need to do outside of college, internships, programs, stuff like that you really need to focus on to become a professional in that career choice that you want to pursue. So yeah, it's very informational and stuff that we're not taught in high school and that we're not taught. It's very we're just trying to open people's eyes.
Yeah. So Sam, a little bit nervous about it? Excited, nervous? How are you going to get these interviews out?
Well, I'm actually pretty excited about doing it because it really opens my eyes about what I want to do in the future, because that worries me while I'm preparing for college and choosing a major. I really don't know. As far as getting the interviews out there, I'm just talking to people that I know. My mom has some friends. We're starting more in relatives and friends first, and we're just basically, and we go search online for any people that we want to interview, and we get in contact with them. It's basically whatever we want to know, we'll do our best to help find it.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of your first interview. Your first interview. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to interview Ava Virgos, Assistant State Attorney in Pasco County, Florida, and she's going to share some of her knowledge, if you will, on how she was able to become a woman of great passion, a woman of great education, and someone that's really helped a lot of people in their lives. So, excited to do this?
Definitely,
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to jump to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do an interview with Linked and Ava Virgos, Assistant State Attorney in Pasco County, Florida. You're on AM 1220 KHTS. Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Valley Industry Association Business Spotlight. I'm joined by two amazing young adults, Samantha Marcus and Jake Gomez, with LINC, which is LINC Individual Network Connections, helping interview amazing career professionals, men and women, to give an illustration of how they were able to get where they're at in life. And the first interview is going to be Ava Virgos, Assistant State Attorney in Pasco County, Florida. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jake, and welcome Ava to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Eva. Thank you so much for being part of our first interview.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I guess our first question for you is just something basic, and I guess a lot of us kids and a lot of people in general know that the prerequisites to becoming a prosecutor or a lawyer is law school. But after law school, how exactly did you get to the level you're at now?
So I went to Syracuse University College of Law in New York. During the 3 years of law school, during my third year of law school, I interned at the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of New York. And during that time, I learned a lot about the prosecution aspect in the federal system. But then I was from Florida, so I wanted to return back home and work in the local system. And from that experience, I ended up coming to the state attorney's office, which is the state part of what the federal government would do at the U.S. attorney's office.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Eva. This is Samantha. How are you doing?
Hi, Samantha. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So one question I have for you is, I know that you try murder cases, and trying murder cases, you see things that not everyone might see on a daily basis. So my question is, what kind of person, or what is the mentality that you need to have to, stomach these cases, because they are kind of hard cases to deal with sometimes?
Well, I think that everybody goes into it using their own background and strengths to cope with the information that we have to cope with as far as what we do with our work. But for me personally, the families give me the most strength. So the families of the victims are what drive me to do what I do. The ultimate result that I can hopefully accomplish for them in helping them to close that horrible chapter of their lives is something that I take great strength in.
Well, thank you.
And I guess that kind of leads to our next question, is that did you actually, out of high school, did you know that being a lawyer was the profession that you really wanted to pursue? And that being said, what made you, I guess you kind of answered that, but what really made you want to initially become a lawyer?
I did know that I wanted to be an attorney, and specifically I knew that I wanted to be a prosecutor, whether it be state or federal, but I did know that that's what I wanted to do, which isn't usual, I think. I think that I speak to a lot of high school kids right now who don't know what they want to do, and that's okay. It certainly is something that you can grow into while you're in college. It's a good time to learn and experience where you want to go. But for me, when I was in high school, I had a good friend who was a prosecutor, and I had come to just watch and learn, and I watched him do a trial on it was a homicide, but it was a trial that involved a child, and the child was the victim of the homicide, and it just spurred up a passion in me that has existed ever since.
That's very noble. Thank you so much.
And my last question to you is that in cases such as my grandfather's, my mom informed me that people can admit guilt, but even though they do admit guilt, there's still a possibility of being let off. How does that make you feel? Can you elaborate more on this?
I think that what your mom is talking about is that people may make statements to law enforcement that are inculpatory, that indicate that they took part in the act that they're being charged with. But that doesn't automatically and immediately equate to a guilty verdict. The law is very tricky sometimes, and it has a lot of rules that need to be followed and a lot of precautions and guidelines. And in your grandfather's case specifically, there was a lot of mental health issues that were coming up and issues of that nature that were kind of throwing curveballs along the way. But ultimately the right thing was done. The jury came back with a guilty verdict, and she's serving a life in prison, and so that chapter ended well.
Well, thank you.
Before a trial, do you get really nervous, or is it kind of something that has been a rhythm to you now and you're kind of into the rhythm? Or, can you just elaborate on that?
No, I think that every good trial attorney gets nervous no matter what before trial, but it's just like anything else. The more that you get to know your jury, the less nervous you become, and the more the trial progresses through the days, the more comfortable you are in what you're doing, and you just kind of go.
And one other question I have for you is, how did you get your job? A lot of jobs are gotten by referrals. I mean, was that the case with you? And then a kind of question that goes with that is, you've learned a lot over your career. Would you do anything differently if you were to do it all over again?
how I got my job. While I was interning with the U.S. Attorney's Office, I applied for the position at the State Attorney's Office in Florida. I worked a summer job here between my second and third year of law school, and so I had made some connections as a result of that summer internship, and that is how I ended up getting the interview and then subsequently being offered the position. As far as what I would do differently, I love this work, so I can't say that I would necessarily change anything about the work that I do. It's definitely the reason that I went to law school, so it would be hard for me to leave this.
Well, I think that concludes all of our questions. Thank you so much, Eva, for being part of our first interview. It's very nice of you to do this, and I think it's going to be a very cool project going forward. So yeah, just thank you all in all.
Yes,
thank you so much for inviting me. I think that what you guys are doing is amazing, and I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for everything.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool. So, for further contact with our LINC podcast, you can visit our website, linkpodcast.weebly.com.
And if you want to email us, we are linkpodcast@gmail.com. So thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Well, we're on AM 1220 KHTS. Thank you to Samantha Marcus and Jake Gomez for an interview and discussion on linked individual networks. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight on AM 1220 KHTS.